What's up, everybody? How we doing today? Happy Thursday. We got break number 693 BD. This is a half case, 8 boxes of Donruss baseball. What's up, Toss? How we doing today? Welcome to the show, guys. Here we go. Box number 1. What's up, guys? Good luck. If you're in the break, good luck. Here we go. Box 1. What's up, Hot Wheels? What's up, Heritage, Sports Cards, PNW? What's going on? How we doing today? If you're in the break, good luck. If you're not, just enjoy the show. We'll have some fun here. What's up, Alki? K-Duo? Alright, guys. Here we go. Box number 1. Good luck, everybody. Johnny Bench, Marcelo Mayer. That is Cash Mayfield for the Padres. 187 out of 199. Sebastian Walcott. Kobe Mayo. That's a Milestones of Big Poppy. David Ortiz on the green Sunburst. That's not numbered. That is Kalen Culpepper on the foil. Augustin Ramirez for Miami. Will Clark. There's Yachty on the Milestones. Don Mattingly on the foil. There's Luis Angel Acuna. Luis Angel, 10 out of 149. Our first auto is going to Cleveland. There's Welbin Francesca. Welbin Francesca. Chisca. This one is not numbered. Frank Thomas. We got a debut of Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens on the debut Dominance. These are not numbered, but are short prints. That is numbered 132 out of 199. That is Ben Hess for the Yankees. For the Yankees, Thatcher Hurd. Our patch goes to Tommy White and the Oakland Athletics. This one is not numbered. Bucky Dent for the Yankees. Seaver King. Jim Palmer on the foil. We got an orange octochrome of Starlin Caba for the Miami Marlins, 114 out of 199. Johnny Mize for the Giants. Brady House on the Marvels. That's Owen Hall, Detroit. Matt Shaw for Chicago Cubs. Ricky Henderson for the A's. We got Kobe Mayo on the blue bomb squad. Blue and gold, that is 15 out of 49. 15 out of 49. Bomb squad, Kobe Mayo. 116 out of 199, Cam Smith for Houston. On the green, Optichrome, Jim Thome for the Phillies. 45 of 149. Yadi Molina. Dylan Cruz on the Elite Series. That is a sunburst of Alex Gordon for Kansas City. For the Pirates, we got a red Optichrome. Red Optichrome for the Pirates, that's 79 of 99. Jeff Bagwell, Houston. On the Diamond Kings, we got Heston Kjerstad for Baltimore. Heston Kjerstad on the Diamond King short print foil. That is for Baltimore. Purple. That is 43 of 99. That right there is Colson Montgomery for the White Sox. We got another patch here. That is Malcolm Moore for Texas. Not numbered. Malcolm Moore. Tony Olivia, Luis Angel Acuna. This one is Travis Bazzana for Cleveland, your number one pick in the draft. 46 of 99 on the purple. That is Connor Griffin. Zebby Matthews. Evan Carter on the blue Marvels. Evan Carter, that's 70 out of 199. That is Jacob Wilson. That is red to 250. 6 out of 250. Jacob Wilson for the A's. Juan Marshall on the silver optic chrome. We got Connor Norby. Bobby Witt Jr. Elite Series. That is Deion Sanders on the Sunburst. We have a black laser to 39. It is optic chrome. It is Catfish Hunter. Catfish Hunter on the black optic chrome. 28 of 39. 28 of 39. That is box number 1. Box number 2. Box number 2. All right, this is box number 3. Box number 3. Box number 2. Excuse me, guys. Box number 2. I can't count. All right, box number 2. Here we go. That is Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee on the optic. I got Cash Mayfield on the Diamond Kings. Cash Mayfield on the Diamond Kings. That is a green 176 out of 199, Pedro Martinez. Christian Moore on the optic. We got Marcelo Mayer, 23 out of 99 on the player, on the patch, excuse me, Jersey King. Chase Dolander. Buster Posey. Matt Shaw. John Smoltz on the foil. We got on the Optichrome red, that is Carson Bench for the Mets. That is 60 out of 99. 60 of 99. Tony Perez. Gary Sheffield on the bomb squad. Enrique Bradfield Jr. on the foil. Roman Anthony. There's Don Mattingly. Dalton Rushing. Connor Griffin, that is 173 out of 250 for the Pirates. Kellen Lindsey for the Dodgers on the Optichrome. Jimmy Rollins. Nick Kurtz. Albert Pujols on the Sunburst. Brody Brecht. There's our next auto. It's Colson Montgomery on the Optichrome auto, not numbered. Colson Montgomery for the White Sox. That is a purple Optichrome of Caleb Lomavita for the Washington Nationals, 31 of 49. Colson Montgomery on the acetate. We got Barry Larkin on the Milestones, green Sunburst. Adam Wainwright, that's Jim Rice on the Optichrome. What's up, John? How are you? There's Mike Piazza, James Wood, Sunburst of Griff O'Farrell, Carson Williams. There's Michael Young. That's Matt Shaw for the Cubs on the blue Marvels, 43 of 49. Bubba Chandler, that is to 250. That is 233 out of 250. 233 out of 250. Optichrome of Chipper Jones. Jim Thome. Sunburst of Randy Johnson. Tony Perez on the green Optichrome. That one is numbered 101 of 149. Jeff Bagwell, Kobe Mayo. That's a purple Nick York. Nick York for the Pirates. This one is 3 out of 99. Brock Loken, Milwaukee. Yachty. We got Rhett Lauder on the Elite Series green foil. Gerangelo Cinche on the foil. Dalton Rushing. Ricky Henderson. Kirby Puckett. Connor Griffin. That is Jack Leiter on the foil. That is an orange Dante Nori for the Phillies. Orange Dante Nori, 192 of 199. And our for the New York Mets, next day auto, that is Carson Bench. Carson Bench for the Mets. On the redemption. All right, that was box number 2. Box number 2. One second, guys. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, box number 3. How's it going out there in eBay land, guys? How you doing today? Thank you for being here. If anybody can do me a favor and just type hi in the chat, I'd appreciate it there on eBay. They got a new chat set up, so I want to make sure that the chats are coming through if people are typing stuff. So if anybody out there can type the word hi into the chat for me, that'd be awesome. I'd appreciate it. This is box number 3. Box number 3. Here we go, box number 3. We got Jim Thome. That is Dante Nori on the Diamond Kings. Dante Nori Diamond Kings. That's for Philadelphia. That is 19 out of 25. 19 out of 25. That is Aiden Miller for Philadelphia. Boston Bateman, our next patch goes to the Minnesota Twins. That's Tony Olivia, 22 out of 25. We got Brooks Lee, Jordan Lawler, Nick York. That is a black Pandora. These are not numbered, but they are short prints. That is Eddie Matthews on the black Pandora going to the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves on this one. Buster Posey, Paul Skeens Unleashed. Sebastian Walcott, Jacob Mizrowski, Ricky Henderson, David Ortiz. For the Padres, Jake Peavy, 49 out of 199. Braylon Payne. Mike Piazza. That is 5 out of 15. 5 out of 15 on the Marvels purple. That's Brady House. Brady House for Washington. 41 of 99. 41 of 99. Purple base numbered. Evan Carter on the Optichrome. Michael Young, Joe Morgan. Sunburst, that is Brooks Lee for Minnesota. Cole Young on the purple Optichrome. That is 35 of 49. Cole Young, that's for Seattle. Jimmy Rollins. That is 217 out of 250 for Cincinnati. Chase Burns. Tekoa Roby. Jeff Bagwell. Bobby Witt Jr. on the green Sunburst. Foil, that is J.D. Dix. Chase DeLauder. Unleashed of Jackson Churio. There's Yachty. Marvels of Kumar Rocker. Got another redemption. That is Miguel Tejada for Baltimore. That is Chase Dolander for Colorado. Numbered 80 out of 99. And our redemption base rated rookie optic signatures. Card 116, that is Kendall George going to the Dodgers. Kendall George not numbered to the Dodgers. Jim Palmer. That is blue, 19 out of 149. 19 of 149. Agustin Ramirez from Miami. Optichrome of Vance Honeycutt for Baltimore. Don Mattingly. Travis Sunburst. That's Buster Posey for the Giants. Next auto's right there. Optichrome rated rookie auto. That is Noah Schultz for the White Sox. 187 of 199. That is Levi Sterling on the acetate for Pittsburgh. Aaron Judge Elite Series. Pudge Rodriguez for Texas. That's Jim Cott on the Optichrome. Box number 3, our final auto goes to, how about the Red Sox? Nice Christian Campbell auto. Christian Campbell for the Red Sox, not numbered. Box number 4. Thanks, Blah. Hey, Blah, I need you to do me a favor and go to the eBay Live and try and type into the chat for me, please. The chat is new and different over here, and I need to know if the chat's working or not, just for future reference. They changed it again. There you are, Matt. I see that you just popped in. Okay. Test. Perfect. All right, so it is working. Okay. Thanks, bud. Just wanted to make sure. See gold. I see a gold. And it looks like a gold, like, masterpiece or something. Yeah, they made it now so we can actually see when people come into the room, Matt. So, they updated it nicely. It looks good. Just wish, like I said, wanted to make sure people could type in there. Thomas Sagasi on the rated rookie. That is Jordan Lawler on the greetings from Arizona. That is blue. 87 of 149. That is David Shields, Kansas City. Our patch. That is Kyle Teal for the White Sox. Kyle Teal not numbered. Johnny Mize for the Giants. That is Andrew Jones on the foil. Jim Thome on the pink lasers to 79. That's 79 of 79. That's going to Philadelphia. Our gold is behind Bucky Dent right here. Gold behind Bucky Dent. There is Bucky Dent. It is a milestone gold of Adam Wainwright. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Adam Wainwright on the milestone gold. That is for St. Louis. Career wins. 3 out of 10. Adam Wainwright. Connor Griffin. Kyle DeBarge. What's up, Alki? How we doing today? Albert Pujols. Joe Mauer. Sunburst. That is Kagan Smith for Chicago. PJ Morlando. Spencer Arrighetti for Houston. That is a foil of the Elite Series 141 out of 199, Evan Carter. Yeah, there's no more lurking when they come into eBay anymore. Now it shows me who came in the room. 135 out of 199, Jim Leland. That is a Optichrome of Ian Kinsler. Cal Ripken. Albert Pujols. Michael Young on the Sunburst. That is a red Enrique Bradfield Jr. for Baltimore. 65 of 99. They've needed that for a long time, blah. They needed that for a long time. There's Tony Perez. Big Poppy on the milestones. That is Alex Gordon, 35 of 99. Christian Campbell on the Optichrome. Junior Caminero. That is Vance Honeycutt. That is Sunburst of Jim Thome. Tommy Troy, our next auto. That's for the Dodgers. Kellen Lindsey, our first numbered auto of the break. Kellen Lindsey, that is 4 out of 35 for the Dodgers. Charlie Condon on the orange at 199. 195 of 199. That is Chase Burns for Cincinnati on the acetate. Elite Series, Evan Carter. The Panda Bear, Pablo Sandoval. Austin Wells on the Optichrome. Mike Schmidt. That is Nick Kurtz for the A's. That one is 222 out of 250. Leo Tavares. Ken Griffey Jr. for Cincinnati. That's Seaver King on the green Sunburst for Washington. August Ramirez for Miami on the foil. Carson Benj for the Mets. Jim Thome. Randy Johnson. Another redemption. Marvels of Diamond King Leo Tavares. That is Dylan Cruz for Washington. Foil. Paul Skeens, green, numbered to 149. 75 of 149. And our redemption. Signature Series Red. Signature Series Red. Let's see. Red. Red is to, let's see. Red is to, looks like 49 according to the checklist. Card number 37. That is Adel Amador, Colorado Rockies. Adel Amador for Colorado. This is our halfway point. Adel Amador for the Rockies. This one is to 49 according to the checklist, but I could be wrong. I could be reading it wrong, so I'm just going to say it is numbered, hopefully to 49 for whoever has the Rockies. All right, that's our first half. First half in the books, not bad. We need something bigger, though. You guys deserve something bigger. Here we go. Box number 5. All right, box number 5, here we go. What's up, everybody? How we all doing today? Hope everybody's having fun with the break. I'm having fun ripping for you. Just need to get a little bit bigger hits. Come on. Second half, these 4 boxes. Let's go. Let's get some better hits in these 4 boxes. All right, here we go. Box number 5. Will Clark. There's Kirby Puckett on the debut dominance. These are not numbered, but are short prints. That is Brady House for the Washington Nationals, 88 of 99. Bryce Cunningham. Our patch goes to, that's James Triantos. That's going to the Cubs. Cubs on the patch. This is not numbered on this patch. Not numbered. Tony Olivia, Matt Shaw. There's Alex Gordon. Ricky Henderson on the pink lasers to 79, 48 of 79. Zebby Matthews, Gary Sheffield. That is Kalen Culpepper for Minnesota. Jared Thomas. Connor Norby, Brooks Robinson. 119 out of 250. 119 out of 250, Hurston Waldrop for the Atlanta Braves. That's Carson Williams for Tampa Bay on the Optichrome. The Big Hurt, Paul Skeens. Sunburst, that one is Jacob Wilson for the A's. Drew Gilbert for the Mets. Our next auto, that is P.J. Morlando for the Miami Marlins. P.J. Morlando, this one is also not numbered. Nice hit for the Marlins. Good young player. Is that another Black Pandora? I think it is. Black Pandora of Ken Griffey Jr. going to the Cincinnati Reds. Black Pandora, Cincinnati Reds, Ken Griffey Jr. Nice hit for the Cincinnati Reds. For the Yankees, we got Ben Hess on the acetate. Ben Hess acetate. Kumar Rocker. There's Rhett Lauder for Cincinnati. Jim Leland on the Optichrome. Cal Ripken, Yachty. Blue, Jim Leland, 13 out of 149. 13 of 149. James Tibbs. Spencer Arrighetti. That is Kumar Rocker, 152 out of 199 on the Unleashed. That's for Texas. Artist proof to 25. To 25, that's Ryan Sloan. Ryan Sloan, that's going to Seattle. That is 19 of 25 on the artist proof. 19 of 25 on the artist proof. Optichrome of Jairo Iriarte. Albert Pujols to Alex Rodriguez. There's Jim Rice on the Sunburst. Jim Rice also on the pink lasers. Pink lasers to 79. That is 56 of 79 going to the Red Sox. Bucky Dent, George Brett on the milestones. That is 63 of 199. That is Carson Benj for the Mets. Jet Williams for the Mets. Johnny Mize for the Giants. That's Spencer Jones on the green Sunburst Bomb Squad for the Yankees. There's Owen Hall for Detroit. Griff O'Farrell, that's for Baltimore. Thomas Sagasi, Christian Campbell. Our last auto is going to be an on-card auto. Looks like a Prospects auto on-card. We got Deion Sanders on the foil. On the orange for the Chicago Cubs. I'm sorry. My apologies, guys. That's Chicago White Sox. That's Colson Montgomery orange. That is 125 of 199. And the auto prospect on card is Ethan Anderson for the Baltimore Orioles. Ethan Anderson, not numbered, on card prospect auto. Nice hit for the Orioles. That was box number 5. Box number 6. All right, box number 6. Box number 6. Here we go. That is a Diamond King of Christian Moore for the Angels. Christian Moore for the Angels, Diamond King. That is a blue Thomas Sagasi, 127 out of 149. Thomas Sagasi for the St. Louis Cardinals to 149. Walker Janke, our next patch. That is Chris Davis on the orange patch. That one is 74 of 99 going to the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles, Chris Davis. Gyro. We got Gerangelo. Jimmy Rollins. That's Carlos Beltran. Carlos Beltran, 2 out of 149. That's Colt Keith. Bobby Witt Jr. Ethan Salas on the foil. Owen Cassay for the Cubbies. Alex Rodriguez. We got Chase Dollander. That is Slade Caldwell. That is for the Arizona Diamondbacks on the Sunburst. Slade Caldwell. Rinto Sasaki. Johnny Bench. That is Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson. That is 9 out of 49 on the Milestone Blue. That's Brock Wilkin for the Brewers, 109 out of 199. Carlos Beltran on the Optichrome. Kobe Mayo. That's Colt Keith on the Green Sunburst Marvel for the Detroit Tigers. Sunburst of Kumar Rocker. That's Miguel Tejada on the Green Optichrome. 33 out of 149. Terry Francona, Dalton Rushing. Purple to 99, that's 28 of 99. That is for Arizona, Tommy Troy. Christian Moore on the Optichrome for the Angels. Jake Bloss for Toronto. Nick Kurtz for the A's. On the Sunburst, Ryan Braun for Milwaukee. Roby. Our auto is Adam Wainwright. Adam Wainwright on the auto. Future Hall of Famer. That's going to St. Louis. Finally put something up there worth putting up. We got a pink of Randy Johnson to 79. 72 of 79. Our acetate is Enrique Bradfield Jr. for Baltimore. Don Mattingly. Pedro Martinez Optichrome. Lou Gehrig, Kirby Puckett. That's Chipper Jones, 104 out of 250 for the Braves. Chase DeLauder. Will Wagner. That is a green sunburst. Charlie Condon on the Unleashed. That's Noble Mayer. Brandon Payne for Milwaukee. Paul Skeens. James Wood. Optichrome auto coming. We got Jim Palmer, Tommy Troy for Arizona. That is 154 out of 199. And our Optichrome auto goes to J.D. Dix. J.D. Dix, Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, this is not numbered. Box number 7. Box number 7. How's it going, live? How's it going, Isha? Thank you for being here. All right, box number 7 of 8. Here we go. Box number 7. Catfish Hunter. Nick Kurtz. Sunburst, that is Heston Kjerstad. That is Will Wagner for Toronto. That is 28 of 149. John Schmaltz. Travis Bazzana on the Diamond King. That is blue. That is 110 out of 149. Kyle DeBarge for Minnesota. Matt Shaw, our Jersey King, goes to the White Sox. That is Hagen Smith. 78 of 99. 78 of 99. Jack Leiter. That was Kobe Mayo. Mike Mussina. to 149, Tony Olivia. 53 of 149. That's going to Minnesota. Ryan Express, Bobby Witt. There's Bert Campaneris. 32 of 149. That is Chipper Jones. Our next auto is Levi Sterling. Levi Sterling on the Optichrome auto, not numbered. For Pittsburgh. Craig Biggio, Dalton Rushing. There's Ryan Clifford for the Mets. Thatcher Hurd, Yankees. Jordan Lawler, Diamondbacks. 88 of 199. That is for the Yankees, Spencer Jones. That is Mike Mussina, 12 out of 199. 12 of 199. We have Will Wagner on the Optichrome. That's Aaron Judge. That is 12 out of 149. 112 out of 149. Acetate of Walker Janke for Houston. Chase Dollander on the Elite Series. Sammy Sosa going back to Chicago to Wrigley Field. First time in 21 years tonight, I think it is. Or it was this week. Lou Gehrig on the Optichrome. Prince Fielder. Gerangelo. Connor Griffin to 250. That's 162 out of 250 for Pittsburgh. Excuse me. Ramirez. That is Ozzie Smith. Sunburst green of Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. Foil of Kyle DeBarge, Minnesota. Connor Griffin. Nick York of Pirates. James Tibbs, Giants. That is Jusor Gonzalez for the Giants. J.D. Dix for the Diamondbacks. Miguel Tejada. Luis Angel Acuna. That's Tim Hudson, 81 of 99 for the A's. 81 of 99. Purple foil. Ryan Clifford on the Optichrome for the Mets. Pudge. Don Mattingly on the Milestones. That's Jake Peavy on the Sunburst. Sebastian Walcott. Our next auto is for the Mets. That's Colin Hawk. Colin Hawk on the Rated Prospect auto. Nice hit for the Mets. And our last box. Last box. Good luck, everybody. Box number 8. All right, box number 8. Here we go. Box number 8. $95 of 99, Willie Stargell. 95 of 99 going to Pittsburgh. Chase Dollander on the acetate. Gerangelo on the green sunburst. Aaron Judge on the foil. Terry Francona on the Optichrome. Jim Leland. Ozzie Smith on the Elite Series. Blue, that's 81 of 149. That is for the Dodgers, Kendall George. Kendall George for the Dodgers. Cole Young. Carlos Beltran. Bobby Witt Jr. on the green sunburst on the Marvels. PJ Morlando. That is Jesus Made. Yes, you can watch the replay on eBay, on the eBay replays channel, or you can watch it on the YouTube replay channel. The eBay will be up. Usually it takes an hour or so after the break. YouTube is usually up like 5 to 10 minutes after the break. We will also do a full recap right after this box. Pedro Martinez, Carson Benj, Greg Maddux, Dylan Cruz on the orange. That is 34 of 199. Walker Janke on the Pandora Auto. Pandora Auto, Walker Janke for Houston. You're welcome, Sudella. 16 out of 25. Nice hit for the Houston Astros. Robin Ventura, Paul Molitor. Sudella, make sure you go to Breaks and Takes 2, though, for the replay. Remember, we have 3 channels, so make sure you go to Breaks and Takes 2. Otherwise, you won't find it. Drew Gilbert on the Sunburst. Theo Gillen. Dustin Pedroia. There's Big Poppy on the Milestone. 22 out of 49. 22 of 49. That is Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. 38 out of 250. Jake Bloss on the Optichrome. Last 2 stacks. Andrew Jones. That is Leo Tavares. Juan Marichal on the Sunburst. 12 out of 15. That is Cooper Pratt on the blue cracked ice for Milwaukee. 12 out of 15. Nice hit for Milwaukee. Dylan Cruz. Bert Campaneris on the debut dominance. That is for Kansas City. Bert Campaneris. This is the Kansas City Athletics. So I'm going to check this one. Do you have to be present to win a player? You have to win them on the auction on in our store, MK. In our store. All right. Okay, debut dominance. There it is. This is the Oakland A's, guys, on the checklist. Because this is the Kansas City A's. It is going to the Oakland A's. No, you don't need to watch it live, my friend. No, we'll do a recap, and then there'll be replays up on YouTube and eBay, bud. This goes to the Oakland Athletics because it was the Kansas City Athletics. That's what I needed to verify. You're welcome, MK. You're welcome, buddy. That is Jacob Wilson, 163 out of 199. Carter Holton for Atlanta. That is Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders on the patch. And this is game-worn material. Game-worn for Cincinnati material of Deion Sanders. This would have Deion Sanders DNA on it. Pablo Sandoval, Cliff Lee, Billy Martin. That is 32 of 149. That is Jimmy Rollins. The only thing, MK, you have to do before the break is pay for your spots. Pay for anything that you won. Terry Francona. That is a Marvels of Seaver King. Carson Benj. Gerangelo. Colt Keith. Charlie Condon. /71 of 99. That's going to the White Sox. That is Robin Ventura. Marcelo Mayer on the Optichrome. MK, did you hear me? Vlad Guerrero. Sunburst of Deion Sanders for Cincinnati. That is Enrique Bradfield Jr. on the Optic. Our last auto is an on-card auto. Prospect on-card auto. Going to the Diamondbacks. That's Slade Caldwell. Slade Caldwell on the on-card auto. And there, my friends, is your break. Let me get this cleared off up here and we will do your recap for you. Alright, here's our recap, guys. Alright, here we go. These are the 250. Dalton Rushing, Connor Griffin, Chipper Jones, Hurston Waldrop, Nick Kurtz, Chase Burns, Bubba Chandler, Connor Griffin, and Jacob Wilson. To 199. To 199, got Jacob Wilson, Dylan Cruz, Kendall George, Mike Mussina, Spencer Jones, Tommy Troy, Brock Wilkin, Colson Montgomery, Carson Benj, Kumar Rocker, Charlie Condon, Jim Leland, Evan Carter, Noah Schultz, we got Jake Peavy, Dante Nori, Pedro Martinez, Evan Carter, Cam Smith, Sterling Caba, Ben Hess, and Cash Mayfield. To 149. Jimmy Rollins, Aaron Judge, Chipper Jones, Tony Olivia, Will Wagner, Kyle DeBarge, Miguel Tejada, Carlos Beltran, Thomas Sagasi, Jim Leland, Paul Skeens, David Shields, Agustin Ramirez. We got Tony Perez, Jim Tomey, and Luis Angel Acuna. To 99, Robin Ventura, Willie Stargell, Tim Hudson, Tommy Troy, Brady House, Alex Gordon, Enrique Bradfield Jr., Chase Dolander, Colt Keith, Nick York, Carson Benj, Travis Bazana. We got Colson Montgomery and Connor Griffin. 2/79, we got Randy Johnson, Jim Rice, Ricky Henderson, and Jim Thome. 2/49, David Ortiz, Brooks Robinson, Cole Young, Matt Shaw, Caleb Lomavita, and Kobe Mayo. We had one black laser, that's Catfish Hunter 2/39. We had 2/25. We had Ryan Sloan on the artist proof and Aiden Miller on the foil. We had 2/15. Cooper Pratt on the blue cracked ice, and on the purple Marvel's Diamond Kings or Diamond Marvel, excuse me. That is 5/15. Brady House. We had one gold. That was a milestone of Adam Wainwright. Adam Wainwright on the gold. Our short print acetates. Short prints and acetates. Chase Dolander. We got Walker Janke, Enrique Bradfield, Ben Hess, Chase Burns, Levi Sterling, Colson Montgomery. Diamond Kings of Travis Bazana, Christian Moore, Dante Nori, Cash Mayfield, Heston Kerstead. Debut dominance for the Kansas City Athletics, which goes to Oakland, Burke Campaneris, Kirby Puckett from Minnesota, Paul Skeens. On the greetings from, we had Jordan Lawler from Arizona. We had two Black Pandoras, Ken Griffey Jr. on the Black Pandora for the Reds, and Eddie Matthews for the Milwaukee Braves, which goes to Atlanta on the Black Pandora for the Braves. Our patches, Cincinnati patch, that is Deion Sanders. That is for the White Sox. I'm sorry, this one is for the Cubs, James Triantos. This one's for the White Sox, Kyle Teal. For the Rangers, we got Malcolm Moore. For Oakland, Tommy White. We had to 99, Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Chris Davis for the Orioles, and that's Marcelo Mayer for the Red Sox. And we have Tony Olivia on the blue patch. That one is going to the Minnesota Twinkies. Our autographs, not numbered, Colin Hawk, Levi Sterling, J.D. Dix. That is P.J. Morlando, Christian Campbell. We had a redemption not numbered of Kendall George going to the Dodgers. Next day auto, not numbered, Carson Bench for the Mets. Colson Montgomery, that is not numbered also. And Welben Francesca. Our not numbered on-card autos go to Ethan Anderson of Baltimore Orioles, Arizona Diamondbacks, Slade Caldwell. This one, again, I'm not sure if it's 249 or not, but according to the checklist, I believe it is. That's Adele Amador going to the Rockies on the redemption. Kellen Lindsey to 35. Kellen Lindsey to 35 for the Dodgers. That one is 4/35. Walker Janke on the Pandora auto for Houston. That is 16/25. And our hit of the break, I think, that is Adam Wainwright, future Hall of Famer auto for the St. Louis Cardinals. There's your break, my friends. Hope you had a good time. Hope to see you next time. Have a great afternoon.